If you ever thought certain parts in Lagos, like Ikoyi, Banana Island, and even some places in Lekki, might just be where the creme de la creme reside in Lagos, then you might be wrong. You need to think again. And that's because a place called EKO Atlantic, which is a city within a city, I say that because it is going to be a city within the Lagos city, is gradually taking over. Now, this is my drive through the EKO Atlantic coming in from the Amadu Bello end in Victoria Island, and this was my very first time visiting the place. Now, what is EKO Atlantic? It has become Nigeria's most sought after city for its high end infrastructure, prestige, and its well planned city layout because it's reflected in an 8-lane boulevard. We don't get to have that in Lagos. It has about 13 internal bridges, underground cables, and green footprints defined over 30,000 trees. I mean, I remember back in the day when you had all of these companies set up their headquarters on the mainland. That was years before Lekki came into existence. So you had people, companies set up their businesses on the mainland around Ikeja. And when Lekki started to boom, people moved their businesses even from Lagos Island down to Lekki, because obviously that was where the money was or where the money is. But now with EKO Atlantic, you find that businesses are beginning to move their headquarters from wherever they are in Lagos, particularly on the island, and are beginning to shift ground and base into EKO Atlantic. And as someone rightly put it, it has become the I belong prestige mentality among the big firms. I mean, just recently you had the TVC group or the TVC TV station move their headquarters from K2 down to EKO Atlantic. Also, you have firms like First Bank having set up their foundation and to move their headquarters from Lagos Island down to EKO Atlantic. Also, MTN, the telecom giant, has also indicated their interest to move their headquarters to EKO Atlantic in few years to come. It's funny because, back in the day we had so many offices. I mean, I remember Eco Bank on Ozubambadiwe, that big headquarters, set up their headquarters just there. And I'm sure so many banks would move from Victoria Island and even Ikoyi down to EKO Atlantic very soon. If you go on Kingsway now or Ozubambadiwe in Victoria Island, that is like the go-to area for high-rise offices. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they're able to navigate also to EKO Atlantic in years to come. EKO Atlantic is said to be modeled after the skyscraper district of Manhattan Island in New York City, and it has become the new destination for big ticket corporate firms which are building or even relocating their headquarters to the 10 square kilometer city rising off the coast of the Atlantic City or the Atlantic Ocean in Lagos. So apart from the TVC station, we have other firms like the Dangote Group and also the United States Embassy have already taken positions here. Apparently, the U.S. Embassy in EKO Atlantic is said to be the biggest office, in the world. Like, the embassy in EKO Atlantic is said to be the biggest. I've never been. Have you been? Did you notice? This should be interesting. And it's not just commercial building or commercial towers that are in EKO Atlantic. You also have residential buildings here as well. I hear those ones. I hear those ones are really, really nice. So, a particular company called the Azuri Towers offers both residential and commercial facilities, but it's strictly for high-end clients and corporate bodies. So, if you have the Chicheng or the Chicheng, then EKO Atlantic is definitely for you. So, as mentioned earlier, the EKO Atlantic City, in my mind, might be like a skyscraper boulevard of some sort. You won't find small buildings here, like small story buildings. You probably be finding buildings that are standing on like 22 floors, 33 floors, that kind of a thing. And some of the residential buildings that they have at the moment are the Pan Atlantis Towers by the Periwinkle Residences. They also have the Eco Pearl Champagne Tower and Eco Pearl Black Tower by the Elias Sad Leading Association. You also have the Louisville by the Total Energy Staff Cooperative and Multipurpose Society. So, for instance, the Louisville will comprise of about 300 residential homes spread between two towers. It would have a world-class sporting center and a club. It would have retail outlets and other facilities. So, the EKO Atlantic is an exclusive luxury city. It has super or superior infrastructure that appeals to the kind of investors we have seen in the city so far. Many argue that this city is not planned for mass housing. So it's not planned for everybody. It's just for the exclusive people that can afford it. Perhaps the 0.5, the 0.5, perhaps not even the 1% of the 1% again. Perhaps it's not like the 0.5% of the investors that can actually come here to live, work, reside, and thrive. And it's funny that this city was actually built on water. Yes, on water. All of this was the former Bar Beach in Lagos. I remember in the 1980s that you would come to the beach in Lagos. All of this was just Bar Beach. It was just the beach. But this was launched in 2008 with the land reclamation, and it started the same year by submerging what used to be the Bar Beach, which was an enclave for fun seekers. The city is located next to Victoria Island main business district, and it aims to become Lagos's most advanced commercial hub. So, having said all of that, the next question that comes to my mind is, how much is land here? Like, how much can it possibly be? Well, according to an article, it would cost approximately $1,250 per square meter. Per square meter to get a place here. And even though many have argued that this is overly expensive, well, experts have bet that the exorbitant land price in the EKO Atlantic, which is usually denominated in US dollars, compares favorably when you're looking at other land values in Manhattan City in the US. Now, if you're somebody that has a property in the US in Manhattan, or if you know anybody, please, do you think this is worth it? I don't know, but I know that when you think about all of the infrastructure that I've mentioned, then perhaps, because some people say that in Manhattan, real estate cost on the average around $1,773,000 per square foot, and now we're saying EKO Atlantic is just going to be around $1,250 per square meter. So if you're looking at all of that and looking at all the infrastructure and everything that will come with it, perhaps it's worth it. What do you think? And many are arguing and still argued that why is the city taking forever to fully develop? Because the pace is really slow. But I'd like to think that, soup waste sweets now money killer. We don't want to just start constructing and building arbitrarily like we find in most parts in Lagos. So if you're going to start right, it's better to get it right from the onset. Get proper city planning, get everything intact. You don't want another Lekki or another funny part in the next couple of years. So get it right, just like Abuja did. So perhaps that's what they're looking at. I don't know. Do you have any idea why this place is taking forever to complete? But so far what we've seen, or what I have seen, it looks really good, and I think it's something we need to really look at. The only downside I have is the fact that it's a reclaimed land and the issue of erosion and flooding, but I'm hoping that all of this will have been taken into account by the government. What do you think? And lest I forget, if you're wondering how to enter into the EKO Atlantic, there are currently restaurants in there because the security is a bit tight. They won't just allow you go in and say you want to film or anything like that, except you have permission, of course. But if you want to go in to explore, you can actually take advantage of visiting any of the restaurants, and then by then you're allowed to go in, drive around, and then you do a recording. So that's it on this episode of Tales. Thanks for sticking with me, and let me know in the comments, have you ever been to EKO Atlantic? Do you see yourself living here on a reclaimed beach, or or would you rather just be safe and live somewhere that is dry land? I'd love to know in the comments. It's been beautiful, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't at this point. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. The next video will be about this place called the Hakuna Matata. So don't forget to subscribe and follow along and share, because that would be the following video after this trip to EKO Atlantic. Thank you, and see you again. Bye.